I've said this a lot last year that 2022 is not at all going to be a good year for a whole lot of people in this country, especially the poor, a lot of businesses, small businesses, exporters, importers, you name it. A whole lot of people are in for an incredibly hard year this year. But on the flip side of that, because we want to hear, especially today, bad news that Johnson is indeed in trouble this year, a lot of trouble. And it's only just beginning this year so far. So we're going to go through this article. We're not going to go through it all because it's not all based on politics of things to look forward to in 2022, but we're only interested in like the politics stuff because that's the stuff that we're really interested in for, and stuff that we've got to look forward to this year for future videos that we will probably be doing later in the year. But especially the fact that Johnson is indeed in a lot of trouble, especially when you remember that Johnson's very own coronavirus investigation is meant to kick off this spring, which will absolutely crucify the Tories. Even they know, and were saying it at the time when Johnson said that this was going to go in. Again, the big hope is that this will not impact the next election, but given how bad their handling of the pandemic has been, there is no way that this inquiry does not make news at least once a week while it is ongoing, because there is just so much stuff that went on during the pandemic that literally crucified the Tories. And it's not just that inquiry that we've got to look forward to, but then we'll get into that in a bit. But before we do that, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button down below as well for more videos about British politics. And of course, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page and a more donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So on with the article. This comes from the New European with the title of Johnson in Trouble, More Bank Holidays, and a World Cup. What to look forward to in 2022. If you like your politics like I like my films, with a healthy dose of John McCain-style yippee-ki-yay retribution, then 2022 could deliver the goods in the UK. Boris Johnson was frantically counting sheep until the Christmas break as his ratings slumped under the weight of the polling, pepper, and party scandals. But things might get worse. It may too early to be called time on the Teflon Tory, but he could face a reckoning for his government of its callous and cruel mishandling of the COVID pandemic, which has killed nearly 150,000 people so far in the UK. Spring should see the launch of a public inquiry into the government's handling of the corona crisis. A report by MPs last year said the late lockdown in the early stages of the pandemic was one of the most important public health failures in the United Kingdom has ever experienced, and the inquiry will be chaired by a former appeal court judge, Baroness Heather Helter. No doubt Johnson's reported willingness to, quote, let the bodies pile high will be revisited, along, hopefully, with questions surrounding about the £37 billion spent on the test and trace system, as well as other dubious contracts. But that's not the only inquiry Johnson is facing. A Cabinet Office investigation into the Downing Street lockdown-busting parties is headed by another civil servant, Sue Garrett. She is also due to report early in the new year, along with the Prime Minister's ethics advisor, Lord Geralt, has also reportedly cleared Johnson of any wrongdoing in the sordid tale of the flat refurbishment. This is unlikely to be the last time Johnson's finances come under scrutiny. And of course, Johnson himself has struck a typical upbeat note in the New Year's message, saying that Britain was incomparably better and in a position in a fight against COVID than it was at the end of 2020. Mind you, he's not setting the bar very high. In December last year, he was forced to cancel Christmas at the last minute and, of course, fling the country into a lockdown as cases surged. And unfortunately, any optimism about Johnson getting his comeuppance, either through public inquiries or at the polls in local elections in May, must be tempered with the realization that whoever might eventually replace him is bound to be just as bad. Liz Truss is believed to be the forerunner, edging out Chancellor Rishi Sunak, but she too could face many questions of probity. As in the new year dawned, the Sunday Times had a very tasty story about the full delicious details about an extravagant lunch she reportedly organized last year for Joe Biden's trade representative at an expensive private club owned by a Tory donor. The leaked correspondence published in the Sunday Times showed that the civil servants were so concerned at the cost and the club's and the club's close links to the Tories that the proposal was referred to the most senior official at the Department for International Trade, where Truss was then the trade secretary. And apparently, Truss and her companions drank 2 bottles of dry gin, 3 153-pound bottles of Prazo Balis Alfabeno, a Spanish white wine, and 2 bottles of the French red Cognac del Bastille, a 130 pounder bottle. Emily Thornberry, the then shadow Attorney General, wrote on Twitter that this won't be the last time Liz Truss gets in trouble about asking taxpayers to foot the bill for her expensive tastes. So that's something else to look forward to. This also has the kind of tale that is likely to inflame voters, especially those living in the former Labour constituencies, as they grapple with the costs of living crisis set by the high energy prices, stagnant wages, and the tax credit cuts. Sorry, my rose-tinted glasses aren't strong enough to make this less grim. And unfortunately, 2022 will also offer no escape from the absurdity of the Tories' ill-conceived and dreadfully executed Brexit. On the 1st of January, new rules and regulations were introduced, threatening to hit trade between the UK and the EU even further. These include the imposition of checks that the EU levied on our exports from day one of Brexit, but which the UK has so far avoided. New checks on red tape on all food and drink and trade and the rules of origin relations are now in play. So the Brexit nightmare will continue, but with our rose-tinted glasses in place, we can perhaps at least expect a deepening realization that this Tory vanity project is not working. Already, an opinion survey back in December showed that 6 out of 10 voters believed that Brexit has either gone badly or worse than expected. With Truss now negotiating with the EU over the Northern Ireland Protocol after the resignation of Lord David Frost, there is always hope that she too may find herself expending some of her precious political capital to defend the indefensible, the triggering of Article 16 as a way of wriggling out the commitments made by the British government. So it goes on to talk about a couple of other things, but we're not interested in that. We're mainly interested in the politics stuff there. But yeah, as you can see already, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, not only for Liz Truss, which I think this could very well damage her chances. When if this does damage her popularity, then she ain't going to be Prime Minister. And at the moment, she is the forefront runner to replace Boris Johnson. Make no mistake about that. Rishi Sunak is closely behind, but even then, Rishi Sunak has had his own problems about trying to convince the party that he is going to be their man when he has been the one spending all this money that they, again, apparently really hate spending money. Not only that, you have the Red Wall MPs who also do not like Rishi Sunak, who they are going to get a say as well because they want money for their seats, and he has not delivered on that. And again, with the coming white paper about levelling up, which again is going to get no extra money, we ain't going to see a lot of, should we say, activity. So the two main players in all this who are meant to replace Johnson have a lot of stuff and a lot of political trauma that they've got to try and sort themselves through, to which, if they cannot sort through, this is going to damage all their political credibility, as well as Liz Truss's, what she's got coming up as well. So the dark horse, as I've said before, is Matt Hancock. And you laugh now, but trust me, when it comes time, Matt Hancock will come riding in, possibly, maybe even to steal the coveted prime ministership from both Liz and Rishi. And trust me, they're being sent back to the backbenchers. There is no way that they stay in his cabinet. So, as always, like I say, a lot of stuff to look forward to politically in 2022 coming down the pipe. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And also down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. And of course, we will see you all next time.